In so many ways, Raycast is so much more than a better spotlight. Once you get a taste of this, I think you're going to want more.
Can't imagine what it must be like to meet one of your heroes like that.
I've never met Meyerowitz or Mary Ellen Mark, but meeting Koudelka was like...
You're like the most mysterious guest we've had so far. I'm very curious to hear about how you use Raycast, but also about a few other things that we have listed here. I saw a video from the Honest Guides channel that you were in, and I was like, I had to stop and do a double take, and I was like, hang on, is this the same Bijan that I'm looking for?
Yeah, no, I don't know if I would take anything down.
Yannick became a very good friend when I was in Prague. We really hit it off personally. And that was at the very end of my time in Prague. We decided to film that video because nobody has really seen what it's like on the other side of the embassy walls, so he wanted to do some kind of, little video there. Anyway, he's a good guy.
You seem like such an interesting person. We kind of connected through photography. I've been working in tech for a while. You obviously have a long background with tech as well, investing in tech companies. On top of it, you also showed up on the Honest Guy channel and you're involved in politics. So there's so much of you that I'm just kind of super intrigued by. We could start talking about photography if that's okay.
Okay.
Let me just turn the aircon on because otherwise my camera is going to shut off. So talking about photography, actually, I have a special prop for the video today, which you can see. What's your connection with photography? Is that something that you've been into since, I don't know, since you were young or?
Yeah, I mean, I was really loving taking photos since I was in university. I think I took a photography class like so many people, and then I got introduced to the darkroom, and that was a lot of fun. And then when mobile came about, I kind of switched. It was so easy to just shoot on phones, and I kind of forgot the joy of making photos in a different experience. I was doing a lot of travel for work, like crazy amount of travel for work. And I just realized, like, this is a shame. I should bring a camera back out. And I bought a digital camera. I think it was a Fuji or something. But it just felt like an iPhone again. And then a friend of mine introduced me to film again, or Reed introduced me to film again. And then it was over. It's not that I think a film is better than digital or blah, 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 that old song. But for me, it has a different feeling. I think I've been shooting film for, I don't know, maybe 10 years or something like that. I can't imagine not using film.
I'm quite new to film in the sense I started shooting film about 1.5 years ago, and I was shooting digital primarily. I think maybe it sounds a little bit stereotypical, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it sounds a bit cliche to say, like, I'm shooting film, but I like to slow things down and stuff. Like a lot of people are saying that too. I agree with it and I share this sentiment as well. I feel like there's so much going on right now. Like if I don't control myself, I just feel like I can easily get addicted to my phone and to screens in general. And so not having a screen on my camera, that's great. It's one less screen.
Going on vacation with just a film camera is so nice because there's no edit. There's no messing around in Lightroom like on a vacation. Like you're just there, and it's the best. You make photos, and it's like you're done. It's so nice. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite parts of it. When I get the scan sent to me from the lab, I'm like, it just always feels so great because it's a little bit of a surprise. You never really know when it's gonna come, right?
What got you into film photography? Just besides the slowing down, was there like some moment where you're like, I got to get a Leica? Like what happened?
I've been doing street photography as a hobby for around 10 years when I was working at the Times and the Sunday Times in London. I was already working in office jobs for so long, and I kind of needed a break from being in an office and stuff. So I started going out for lunch every day when it was lunchtime around 12:30. I would just go out, and the Times is in London Bridge where the Shard is. And I would just walk around London Bridge taking photos. And I did that Monday to Friday, at least 1 hour a day taking photos in London Bridge, just with my digital camera. And I got to know the locals around the area, which in London is like, you don't get to know the locals in London, like it's not like Barcelona. That became my escape. It became my moment of touching grass, if you will. So I did that for a while, and I realized about a year and a half ago when I started shooting film, I always try to make my digital photos look like film.
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah.
in Lightroom, adding some VSCO presets, editing the photos, adding some fake grain, And then at some point I was like, I should just try film. I'm wasting so much time here. While you were in Prague, you actually met Josef Koudelka, which is one of my favorite photographers. One of my favorite photographers.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that. I knew I liked you. Yeah, I agree. His work is amazing.
I can't believe you got to not just meet him, you got to take a photo of him. You took a portrait of him.
I took a portrait. Yeah, I couldn't believe he let me do it. Yeah.
Wow.
I took two, actually. One was very serious, and he's not a serious, he's a serious guy, but he's also kind of a very eccentric guy. And then once he started laughing, and I just snapped another one. I was so happy I got that one. But
I can't imagine what it must be like to meet one of your heroes like that.
I've never met, Meyerowitz or Mary Ellen Mark, but meeting Koudelka was like, this is great.
It feels to me that from everything that I know about you, which I'm sure is like not that much, your background as an investor or your background in photography, meeting legends like Josef Koudelka, your background in politics as well. There's something about you that kind of seems to be attracted to connection, right? Whether it's connecting people or connecting startups and connecting founders with employees, even connecting countries. I'm curious about how that ties in, and maybe it doesn't, maybe this is a bit far-fetched, but how this ties in with the idea of how did you connect with Raycast? I wonder if the reason that Raycast connects with so many things is the thing that attracted you to Raycast in the first place.
It's a very interesting comment, and I take it as a compliment. I think I am drawn to creative people, creative products, and creative thinking. I'm definitely drawn to that. I mean, my work in connecting people, I do have a love affair with it, but I'm also on a personal level really deeply drawn to creative people and ideas. And I think that's what's always led my tech investing as well. Like, I never invested to make money as the driving force. It was like I wanted to work with people like David Karp and Jack Dorsey. I mean, that was my passion. And what happened with my connection with Raycast was, so I worked in the government. I was in the private sector for most of my career, all of my career, and then I joined the Biden administration, which I was proud to do. That was an amazing experience in its own right, and it was like really an honor of a lifetime, and I think about it every single day. But there are things when you work for the government you can't do, like, so for example, like, you can't install software on your computer. You can't, like, these things are locked down, and so when I was working for the government, I was living off an iPad basically, and my iPhone, and I didn't really use my Mac because it would have been so managed that I was kind of like, why use it anyway? And so when I got out of the government, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get reintroduced to the state of the art out there and what's happening. And then during my own kind of investigation, I heard about Raycast over and over and over again. And I have to be honest, the way it was described to me, I'm like, I don't know if I need this. But then once I installed it and started using it, the rabbit hole was deep. And I can't imagine having a Mac without it. And I'm constantly learning about new things, which I think is also part of the fun. It's kind of, the app keeps revealing itself to me, and in a way that it's not like I have to wait for an update to get a new experience. I just got to just keep playing. When I launch Raycast, these are kind of my favorites that I use, but it's really misleading because I use this for so many things every single day. So when I play Spotify, I do it here. Even though it's not, technically, a favorites. When I launch Readwise, I do it here. When I go to a Google Doc I'm working on, like, I'm going to Japan later this year, and I've got this Google Doc that I've been planning everything I'm going to do in Japan. I do it here. A new thing I've been doing recently is because I can't stand, it breaks my heart what Twitter has become. I still can't call it the other thing.
Yeah,
But like I now use it to search, Twitter. I've got a quick link set up. So now I'm just searching my stuff here.
Oh, I see. So this is a quick link then, right?
It's just a quick link.
With an argument.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing I do is I compress images all the time with Raycast because, I use Superhuman as my email client, and unlike Apple Mail, it doesn't, compress photos, and, photos that I take on either my phone or my film cameras are like these high res things, and I don't want to send like a 30 megabyte file to somebody. So, that's something I use, all the time. What else? Window management. I use, I've set up keys really for, left, right, center, is typical, but I use that all the time. I also use it to get to deep links instead of web pages, so I don't have to deal with their homepage. So, for example, I never go to the YouTube homepage anymore. I just go to my YouTube subscriptions, and that's how I navigate YouTube. Same thing with Reddit. And so I just deal with subreddits that I want to hit.
You're kind of like avoiding what the algorithm wants you to see, right? It's like,
right.
Avoid the feed and just go straight to where you need to go. What it seems to me so far is that you seem to have a really good mental model for quick links. It's almost like your universal bookmark in a way, from what I can see, right? Because you've got your Japan trip booked on there. Was that something that you started using more often since the release of the iOS app? Because iOS supports quick links, so you can access them on both devices, or is that something that it just felt natural to you as a way to save all of the links that you want to access?
Yeah, I definitely was using quick links first on desktop because I was a Raycast user on the Mac. Well, even before the recent iOS app was introduced. But I find in some areas I use Raycast mobile and desktop for similar things. In other areas, maybe I lean more desktop. So snippets, I probably use snippets on the desktop more than I use snippets on the iPhone. So it just kind of depends.
Now that we've been talking a little bit about Raycast, I was actually wondering, did you watch last week's WWDC event from Apple?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it in the whole thing, but I definitely read the coverage about Spotlight.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Spotlight. Yeah,
that's what I wanted to.
No,
I wanted to ask you something. We were watching the event. The Raycast team, usually we get together and we watch it, right? We didn't expect that this would be the event where Apple would finally improve Spotlight.
Is Raycast dead?
I think Raycast is far from dead. I feel like our main struggle has been to kind of educate people about Raycast. Raycast is a launcher, and a launcher is almost like a category on its own. It's not a browser, it's not a calendar. It's quite abstract, and a lot of people wouldn't even know what it meant. By Apple improving Spotlight, it means that millions of people will start using it more to do things that are a little bit more complex than just launching an app. I think, and maybe this is a little bit of a biased view, but I think that as a result of that, they're going to educate a lot of people about why a launcher is so useful. What do you think?
If you look at the market, you have products like Superhuman and Notion Calendar or Fantastic Calendar. Like these products exist because the stock apps or default apps are not enough for professionals or power users or people that just want to do more or what have you, students, etc. And so there's always going to be this kind of like, different tiers of experiences. Apple Mail keeps innovating. It doesn't hurt Superhuman. I mean, it's a different universe to some extent. But in this case, you're right. There wasn't like what Apple Mail is to Superhuman or what Apple Calendar is to Notion Calendar or Google Calendar. There wasn't like Spotlight. It was this sleepy little thing. So you're right. There wasn't that comparison, and now there will be. So I think that is good news. But in so many ways, Raycast is so much more than a better Spotlight. I can't imagine existing Raycast users being tempted to leave for the next version of Spotlight. And the question is just how much can you convert new Spotlight, Tahoe users over the finish line and over the fence? And I think you're right. I think you're definitely right.
Yeah.
Because once you get a taste of this, I think you're going to want more.
Bijan, thanks so much for coming on. and talking to you.
Yeah, I'm so delighted to be here. I'm such a fan of what you guys are building, and it's really a treat to be here. Keep up the awesome work. It's fantastic.